Hey friends, as you'll come to find out, what I usually start these videos with is, hi friends, it's Ben again, but not quite appropriate for y'all because you haven't met me yet. So I'm recording this video in part to get just a little bit of extra time to let you know what kinds of things to expect and that sort of thing, and also to go over the syllabus, which although it is an important piece of the class, reading it to you is a waste of class time. So I'm going to provide you an online copy of the syllabus and an online video of me talking to you about the syllabus and about class more generally. Okay, so we'll get to that in just a second. Let me comment that I'm recording this on a Sunday night before the 12-week classes start, and I'm so psyched. I haven't said that for years, but I'm really excited to not be on Zoom. So what am I doing? I'm using Zoom to record a video, but yeah, you know. So in any case, though, we are going to meet in person in class, and that's so cool. Yes, I'm so tired of making videos and you know, working with Zoom. So I hope that you're excited too. Okay, so let me see if I can remember how to share a screen here. It's been like a month or so since I have actually had to do something with a video. I hope that's the right one there. And then I have not, so hang on, because of the fact that my share screen is tiny, I can't quite see what it is that it's going to do until it does it, and then I don't know whether it is the right thing. Okay, so yeah, it should be this one. All right, so nope, yep, yes, okay. So you should be seeing a screen that says Calculus 1, Differential Calculus Syllabus, okay? If you're not seeing that, then I'm about to waste a lot of your time. But unfortunately, I have a bunch of documents open in order to show you a bunch of different things. So the thing we've got here is the syllabus. Now, on Canvas, you will have something that says syllabus. And Canvas is using the wrong word. What Canvas calls a syllabus is your day-by-day schedule of the class. And I don't know how to change the name. And of course, the people at Canvas Corporate know so much more than I do because I've only been teaching for as long as some of them have been alive. So, but you know, whatever. In any case, though, I don't want to read this to you, but there are some things that I want to communicate to you that unavoidably makes me read some stuff to you. There will be a link to this from Canvas that has a title like Course Policies page. And so this is trying to lay out what to expect from the course. In a sense, this is a legally binding document. But I do need you to understand it is a tentative syllabus because there may be some typos. There may be some things that I have to change. So bear with me as we go along here. So course name and number. So if you are dealing with an older catalog, this course would be listed as MATH220. I got it changed to being MATH220 so that the fact that the calculus stuff is a different level than the algebra and statistics and stuff that we have otherwise would be like super obvious and stuff. This here, semester offered. This, of course, this is the fall 2021 12-week semester, but in this I have listed that we should be offering Calc 1 all 12-week semesters. Because of staffing, that is not true. We will probably not offer Calc 1 in spring because last spring we didn't get very many students signing up for it. So, all right, my name is Benjamin Marlin, as you can see here. I would appreciate it if you know how to spell that. I suppose I ought to put the PhD after my name and stuff, but that always seems pretty pretentious. As you'll find out, I'm just not a very pretentious guy. So in any case, my name is Benjamin Marlin. You can refer to me as Ben. If it makes you more comfortable, it's okay to refer to me as Dr. Marlin, Professor Marlin, hey dude, yeah, whatever works for you, okay? My office, as you can see here, is in Frank Family Science 234A. Due to some shifting staffing at the college, the math department at one point during the summer was just me. And we decided that, we decided that having me be in Duke, taking up 5 offices that could be used by some other department, was a little exorbitant. So I moved in to the spare office in the physics suite. And some of you may have classes with Travis Wilsey, who is in the spare office in the chemistry suite. So, you know, they're just kind of putting us where they can put us. And in any case, though, Frank Family Science 234A, and my phone number is there on the syllabus. My email address is there on the syllabus. So if you need to hunt me up, you know how to do that. So we are apparently meeting in Duke 204. And I did not remember that until we looked at it. And we'll be meeting tomorrow morning at 8:30. Yay! And thereafter, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8:30 to 9:45. If we should have to go back to online learning, I really hope that we don't. But if we should, then my plan would be to do things asynchronously, to do things synchronously at that same time. And so here's hoping that doesn't come to pass. So my office hours are in person on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 to 11. So right after this class in my office, of course. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll be from 9:30 to 10:30. That'll be right before my 11 o'clock class, okay? If you need to talk to me via Zoom, please make an appointment sufficiently in advance. I don't live on my email, so if you ask for an appointment and with only 30 minutes warning, you probably won't get it. So sorry. But anyway, course prerequisites. Okay, I am going to put something here that I need you to pay attention to. This course assumes that you have had a class where you have talked about trigonometry. If you have not, then you should be signing up for Math 115. I'm not going to teach trigonometry as as a fill-in every class, every time if anybody encounters it, because they've never seen it for the first time. If you have not had trigonometry, you have not met the prerequisites for this class. And if you have signed up for the class without having the prerequisites, I would like to speak to the person who helped you sign up, your advisor, because they need to have taken care of that. Okay, if you signed up and an advisor let you do it and you weren't supposed to, it's their fault. Now, if you snuck it past them, that's on you, okay? But last spring, a fourth of my class had not had trigonometry. And one of them managed to get a D out of the course, and the other 2 dropped. So it was 12 students, so a quarter of the class is only 3 people. Okay, but still, quarter of the class didn't have trigonometry. 1 of them got a D, and 2 of them dropped the course. So, yeah. Tom Espinola is teaching Math 115 this semester. He could kind of use the enrollment, so if you want to pick up that course, you can certainly do so. All right, so the course requirements met. This may need to be modified soon for various reasons. So there is a requirement for Calc 1 from chemistry. Geology, one of the options for geology would require Calc 1 and another option required Calc 2. If you're getting a math major, of course you have to have calculus, as with physics, okay? There are also math requirements that you can satisfy for accounting, biology. I think there's also one for business that you could satisfy with calculus, but because so many business majors satisfy it with Math 112, it is not automatically picked up, and somebody has to actually read your degree check in order to figure that out. So a couple of years ago, somebody who was double majoring with math and business got told that they had not satisfied their basic math requirement despite having completed the math major portion. It was very funny, and we had a laugh as we were checking that out. So, all right, the textbook is Calculus, Early Transcendentals. We are switching to the 4th edition book. Oh, I will put the ISBN on that later on tonight before I go to bed. But yeah, we're switching to the 4th edition. It's available in the bookstore. If you are getting it online or renting an ebook or renting a book online, today is Monday is the first day of classes. I am assuming you have the textbook. If you do not, it is up to you to figure something out. Okay. Now, on a not unrelated note, I will quietly say math books don't change a lot, and the 3rd edition is a lot like the 4th edition. So the page numbers are different. Okay, the course description here is not something you need to worry about too much. It just basically says we will be talking about the parts of calculus that are appropriate for Calc 1. If you are going to look at transferring in or out, our Calc 1 doesn't quite match up with, say, UNCG or Chapel Hill's Calc 1. We've got a 4-semester sequence, they've got a 3-semester sequence, so things are just a little bit off. So it happens. Essentially, between our Calc 1 and Calc 2, it will cover the same things as their Calc 1 and Calc 2, but yeah. So far as I know, they still transfer out with no problem, but at some point they might not. I don't know. All right, course credits. It's a 4-credit course. Okay. This is one of the things that we're always supposed to talk to you about. And I'm going to mention it and not press it a whole lot. Expect to work in this course. Really expect to work in any course that you take at Guilford. 4 credit hours here is supposed to be more work than 3 credit hours somewhere else. Okay, so just bear that in mind. The basic guideline is that outside of class, you should kind of expect to spend about 7.5 hours on doing homework and reading and studying and so forth. They used to have us go through the accountancy thing of counting the number of minutes we thought you would spend on everything. And they have not told me to do that, and I'm not going to do it until I'm forced to in the future. Course learning outcomes, these are really on there for people transferring in, transferring out, who need to know what this course covers as compared to what this similarly named course would cover at another institution. Okay. The Americans with Disabilities Act, if you have a 504 and need some sort of accommodation, you need to make sure and talk to the Accessibility Resource Center. Christy Wyatt over there takes care of this stuff. She may have somebody working under her now, but yeah, there's a lot of staffing has shifted a little bit here lately. So in any case, though, if you need anything official, you need to go ahead and talk to the ARC, and you need to have it officially certified. And that just essentially consists of them going, yes, this is true, and sending me an email saying, we need to do this. This sort of thing can be super simple. I had a student one time who had trouble with the color red on a marker board, and so I just had to not use a red marker. It was amazingly simple. It can sound like it's super complicated. I was teaching a different class, which is highly visual, and I had a student tell me that she was legally blind, and I was at a loss. I did not know how to teach the course, and she told me, no, just whatever you write on the draw on the board, describe it in words. And I did that, and she made an A in the course. So, you know, this accommodations thing, it's not a big deal, but we do have to do all the legalities of making sure it's certified and stuff. Okay. So in particular, some people need a quiet test environment or an extended test time, just because it maybe takes them a little bit longer to write something down. And so, and if that's the case, then we get it set up and we let you do that, and it helps people out. So, yeah. However, you can't just show up on the day of the exam and say, oh yeah, I had an IEP when I was in high school, so I need to have this and this and this. We have to handle it through the ARC. Okay, so make sure to do that this week if you can, or at worst case, just make sure that you do it more than a week in advance of the first exam. We'll get to the schedule in a minute, and we'll talk about what that would mean for timing and stuff. The honor code. This is a big deal, and it is probably something that will come up in part because of the time that we have spent learning online. People have learned about online resources, and amongst other things, there are places like Chegg, which will, if you're taking homework questions straight out of a textbook to solve, they will just have solutions for you that you can copy. And, you know, they charge a fee because, yeah, they charge a fee. Chegg, don't get me wrong, Chegg has some portions of it that are meant to be study aids, but you can pay to just get the answers, and they, you know, frame it to where it sounds all legit and stuff, but it's kind of not. So sorry. Anyway, though, yeah, with regard to that, you have to look out and make sure you are representing your work as your work. If you represent somebody else's work as your work, then you are guilty of academic dishonesty. If you see somebody else doing that, you know, representing someone else's work as their own, and you do not say anything, you are also guilty of academic dishonesty. Okay? We take this seriously. If it's your first offense that you're caught on, and let me say, I don't go looking for this. Every time I've ever had it come up, it's just that two papers have sifted together in a pile and they have answers that I can tell, you know, we're a little bit too much collaboration on. So, or somebody's doing something really obvious and dumb about getting their answers from online during an exam or something, you know. Anyway, the first offense, you will fail that assignment. If it's two people who have shared the work between them, and they admit it to me. And I have to kind of believe that you intend to not do it in the future. Then I will give each of you half credit, half of what you would have gotten otherwise, which is still a failing grade, but it's better than a 0. If you're caught in it and it's provable, then, and if you don't admit it, it's a 0. Okay, so half credit is better than 0 credit. Okay, so if this sort of thing comes up, just be honest about it and come clean, and that's your best bet. But it does go down in your record. If it is your second offense, not your second offense during this class, your second offense during your years at Guilford. So for example, if you plagiarize something in your initiate course your first year, and then your senior year, you copied somebody's homework assignment during the last week of class, you would still have a second offense. And on a second offense, you have failed that class. So imagine the situation I just talked about. You know, copying somebody's homework in your 4th year and failing a class maybe that's required for graduation. It's way easier to just do your own damn work. Okay, so if it's your 3rd offense, you will be expelled from Guilford. And I don't know what the readmittance policies are on that, but I have known of cases where people, you know, got expelled. So please, let's not have that sort of thing happening. Okay. All right, scrolling down through here, there's more stuff going on here. Please keep in mind this thing here, the unauthorized use of materials. If we are working on something where it has to entirely be your own work, and you, okay, if I've specifically said for some reason or another that you can't use a calculator on something, and you use a calculator on something, you use materials that weren't allowed. You know, if you go look something up in a different textbook and it's had specific directions to say that you can't do that, that's unauthorized use of materials. So please keep in mind, any of these things can come up. Don't let them come up, right? Okay, attendance policy. I do not remember what I said in this. Let's read it together. Students should attend every class. Well, that makes sense. If you miss more than 6 classes, you'll be withdrawn from the class by the academic dean's office. So if you think about that, we have 12 weeks, and we have 3 meetings per week. If you miss 6 classes, you've missed 2 weeks worth of class out of a 12-week semester. That's, you know, that's really getting excessive. In any case, though, note that being extremely late or leaving extremely early might be recorded as an absence. With regard to this, every day I will call the roll at the beginning. Okay, if you show up like a couple of minutes late, no big deal, but showing up, you know, 15 minutes late, that's kind of a big deal. All right. And if there's a reason for it, tell me about it. If you have to miss and you let me know ahead of time, that's going to tend to be an excused absence. Okay. If you have to miss and you tell me about it after the fact, I'm going to need some kind of evidence that it was legit. Okay. And please keep in mind, I may show up to class in my Trolls t-shirt or something like that, but pretend like I'm an authority figure. Don't tell me things like, oh, dude, I was so hungover, I just couldn't make it on Friday. You know how it is. I actually don't. I was never that guy. So despite, you know, going to the Trolls World Tour, woo! And, my daughter's into Trolls. So actually, no, she's grown out of that. Never mind. So yeah, make it to class. If you can't make it to class, particularly if you're sick or if you've tested positive for COVID, send me something to show that that's the case. And we will work something out. I don't want to try to teach this class twice in a day or something like that, but we will work something out because a big thing of the class is going to be just reading for the class and trying to work through some problems. So we'll get to that as we go along. All right. Okay, the grading system. So this is the weights that we have on the stuff in class. This first bit, there's 10% devoted to classwork. So that particular thing may not be super clear what that means, and we'll clarify more here in a minute. But no, I should just clarify now. In class, what I want to do is to talk about the reasons why things are true, why math works out a certain way, and then do an example, and then have you do another example. So that's it's kind of like I think it was called a call and return or Greek chorus sort of thing that you might see in literature or something. Yeah, it's not a really good metaphor, but it has you trying to involve yourself and doing not the exact same thing, but something very similar. Then after class, if there's any of it that you didn't get time to finish up, because we have to roll in class. If you just happen to work a little bit slow, you might not finish it right then, but you try to work on it while I'm there to back you up. And then after class, you finish up whatever needs finishing up, and you're going to scan it and turn it in as a multi-page PDF. Okay. I'm just going to check that for completeness to make sure that you finished it. I'm not going to look for correctness on it. And in fact, most of the questions you will have what the answer is provided, just you need to provide the work. So anyway, I will check that sort of thing. And that's what I'm expecting on a daily basis. And that will figure into 10% of your grade. So that's, a letter grade. Then a bit more important is going to be the weekly collections of homework. Now, I have set those up to be automated. So there's an automatic grader for them. And sometimes it's a little bit fussy. So, I give you like the whole week to work on stuff, and I have it with them due on Sunday. So, you don't have to kill your weekend on it. You can come back to it Sunday night if you didn't get it all done. Or you can do it through the week as you go along and just have it finished. So anyway, though, that online homework, maybe I'll put the word online in there to emphasize that. That online homework is figuring in to be 30% of your grade. It's a little bit more objective. It's in general going to be about the same level of work as what you've got in class, but whereas in class it's just being graded for completeness, or for completion. Here it's graded for correctness. So you got to get it correct, and you got to figure out what damn format the program wants it in. Okay. Hey, by the way, I have chosen to use My Open Math for that. My Open Math is this open source software thing where you don't have to pay anything for it. So you're welcome. Okay. You had to buy an expensive calculus book, but at least you didn't have to buy WebAssign or whatever the current thing is, Blackboard. There's a couple of others out there, but anyway. All right, you will notice that a big portion of the grade is devoted to exams. Why would that be? Well, because exams are individual accountability. When we talk about the classwork, I'm going to suggest that people work in pairs for that and talk about what they're doing so that you have somebody to bounce off of it with you. And I'm not going to worry about people turning in the same thing for something that's for completion. For the online homework, I'm not there to see what you're doing. You probably will check your answers after working things out. So you have some online resources that may be backing you up. Okay, so talk to me about those if you get worried about whether that counts as academic dishonesty or something. Usually it doesn't, but I could see times in which it could. The exams, that's all you. So that's why it is weighted so heavily. In general, what I find is that people who are depending too much on tutors or collaborating with their friends or something can't complete the exams. And the thing that is, my exam questions are not exactly the same questions as you had in classwork or in your online work, but they're pretty close. So yeah. Okay, then at the end of the semester, I'm going to ask everybody to do a presentation during final exam week. I don't want to have a final exam during final exam week because that is just rough on people, but prepping some sort of presentation. And I believe what I've said is that it's going to be okay to work in pairs for that as well. You'll give a presentation. It needs to be about something that is applicable for what we've done in class. It can be working out a problem from the optimization section, but if it is something that's just taken from your textbook, you'll need to generalize a little bit. A problem in your textbook will talk about might talk about somebody cutting across grass instead of walking on a sidewalk, and they walk at these two different rates or something like that, and minimizing the time, blah, blah, blah. But for a technology presentation, then you ought to be able to look at some variations on that, about how much faster you have to be going on the sidewalk than the grass in order to change things one way or another. And we're going to talk a little bit about using some more technology here in a minute that you ought to be able to do more stuff with. Okay, so that's what's going on there. Anyway, when you get that all figured out, then we have to think about getting your grade, which your Canvas will figure this out for you. And it should have a what if calculator so that it can tell you what you need on the exam to get this grade or that grade and stuff like that. Okay, but 90, 80, 70, 60 is the breakdown. The last 2% on the bottom or the top, I use for the pluses and minuses. A usual question that I get is, how strict am I about cutoffs? I try to look at what you've done, okay, in order to make decisions about these cutoffs. If you are sitting at 91.8%, and I know you've kind of slacked off, you'll probably still get the A-. If you're sitting at 91.3%, and I know you've worked yourself half to death to get there, then you probably get the A. So there is a little bit of subjectivity to that, but not a lot. Okay, so key thing of that is make sure I know that you're working hard. Walk in occasionally and say, oh man, I did like 100 problems last night. Oh, I'm so tired. Yeah, don't actually literally do that. But I tried to give you a breakdown here to let you know about what I'm thinking about with the percentages that I put on the exam problem. So I try to mark each problem as a certain percentage. And when you're looking at that, 85% or more really means that I think you did really good work and I'm really impressed with it. And 70 to 85% means that you did good work. I think you've got the idea, but maybe you're missing some stuff. And the 50 to 70% range suggests that, you put an effort in there, but I think you're missing something that's pretty important, okay? Anything below 50% is, pretty marginal kind of work. So in the 25 to 50% range, you've got some work in the right direction, and the more it is in the right direction, then the closer to the upper end that will be, and the less, the less. Okay. If you get something that's marked between 0 and 25%, it was me trying to find an excuse to give you some points. Okay. So I rarely give people a 0 on something if they did something. Okay. But bear in mind, you can't just like draw a Garfield cartoon or something and get points for it. So yeah, sorry. All right, so required and suggested readings. This makes reference to a tentative schedule, which we need to go take a look at, okay? And I will bring that up in a second, and we'll just go ahead and look at the page for it. And then in addition, I have a link to a YouTube channel, I guess you would say. I made a playlist of the videos that I produced last spring for Calc 1. And so you'll have to look at what the titles of them are and see if any of them sound like they're relevant to what we're doing at that time. But it will be up to you to figure out what to read. Once you look at the schedule, you ought to be able to figure out what to read from looking at titles. Yeah, I'm not going to hold your hand about, you know, showing you what page to turn to and which paragraphs to read and stuff. If we've got something on the schedule that says we're covering section 1.1 on Monday, then before Monday you ought to read section 1.1. I realize today that's a little rough because, you know, you might not have been prepared for stuff. Amongst other things, I didn't get this video out on time. Oh, sorry. But in any case, though, you should look at the schedule and figure out what you're supposed to have read, and you should read it before coming to class. You won't understand everything in it, but you will then be prepared to ask questions about what we do in class. If you are the sort of person that watching YouTube videos helps, take a look and see if one of the YouTube videos covers the particular section. The 2 semesters don't match up perfectly, okay? So there may be some things missing, or there may be some things that are extra. Don't just put the playlist on in the background and ignore it. That's not very helpful to anybody. So, all right, the major graded assignments. Oh yeah, I'd forgotten that the section is here, and this there's a pointer to the schedule again. There's this mention of the classwork, and the classwork every day I will just score it 1 to 10 based on completion. There are not necessarily going to be 10 questions on any given one of them, but it'll be what, you know, proportion things work out in. So your homeworks will be set up to be 100 points each. I need to go back and fix that so that they actually are. At the moment, they're 10 points each. I need to fix that. I'll fix it, no problem. But once a week, you'll have a homework to complete. I'm trying to make them all be about 10 questions, okay? I may need to run over and have some of them be 12 or 15 questions because I need to break things out into little pieces sometimes. But anyway, I think I have all those set up already, and so you can take a look at them ahead of time if you want to, okay? Then every 2 to 3 weeks, expect an exam, and the exam will be the entire class day. But it won't be like days before it and days after it. We don't do rewrites. I don't give you a practice exam, which is for points. I will, however, make available to you a bunch of PDFs of my old exams. Some of them have solution keys, and some of them I've lost the solution keys. So yeah, we'll do what we can on that. But all right, then the presentation, we talked about that already. Oh man, more details. Okay, preparation, classwork. Yeah, this is stuff that we already talked about. And I have, by the way, broken all of my own rules for how to make a good presentation there. I've read stuff to you. I've not, I've repeated things more than once and made it monotonous, sorry. But in this, there was mention several times of a schedule. And so I want to show you what that schedule looks like. And let me get the right window open here. So I'm going to share screen, and there's the schedule. If you follow the link to it, it will probably take you to this front page that says 12 weeks on it. We are MATH220, so if you go there, please, if you have accidentally gotten edit privileges to this, please do not edit it. It is fragile. I am not a good web page designer or anything. So like if you typed something in this right now, it would completely make it crash. So I don't think the links should let you do that, but you know, okay. So if you take a look here, the blue days are class days, the purple ones are exam days, and orange is days that you got off, okay? So on those blue days, you will always have a classwork assignment that is due by midnight. I'm not super rigid about the midnight portion of it, but as we go along, you know, after this first week, I will start like enforcing it that it has to be there by, you know, the next morning or something, okay? But you will be scanning what you do in class and uploading it, and I'll be grading it for completeness, okay? If you do not make it to class, then you need to ask me about which things to be uploading, and I'll let you know, and then you'll just have to work them out and upload them, okay? So, so in that sense, if you are absent from class, you can still earn all the points for the day. It's just, you know, you have to get something in. But I realize then if you're absent from class, that makes it harder and stuff. But yeah, we'll do the best we can to make sure you get stuff figured out. So that means there's 3 assignments through the week, and then there's a homework that's due on Sunday evening. So midnight on Sunday. Actually, I say midnight, but 11:59. However, before you get super worked up about, oh no, deadlines, Canvas lets you turn things in late, okay? And so it's not super big deal for the classwork stuff, getting it in, you know, just a few hours late. All it will do is to mark it on the screen to tell me it was late. However, the online homework problems, it will actually turn it off at 11:59, where if you were in the middle of it and you did not hit submit before 11:59, it, you know, it will not accept the ones that you did after 11:59 or that you submit after 11:59. So I do, however, have that system set up with late passes. So if you're in that situation, you can claim a late pass. And I think you got 10 of them for the semester with like 11 or 12 homework assignments. So, you know, that will help you out if you end up in that situation. Okay. Now, if you are saying, oh no, they're due on Sunday, that's totally unfair because I will never start working on them until Sunday, and I can't ask questions of Ben because he doesn't have office hours on Sunday. Those observations are correct. That I will not have office hours on Sunday, but you should start looking at them ahead of time. Okay. In part because if you try them and can't get them figured out, you can tell it to resubmit and try it with different numbers. So you have multiple attempts at them. You don't have to get it right the first time. Okay. But please don't use hundreds of attempts at just hitting every combination of keys. So I had a very good student one semester who spent 50 attempts on figuring out where the damned rounding worked on one of these assignments. And it turned out that the assignment wanted a fraction instead of a decimal. And she just, you know, and yeah, she spent a lot of time on one problem. Okay, anyway, though, as you can see, there are names for sections and there are section numbers. So you can look them up in the table of contents for your textbook and you can read the appropriate section. So those should all be linked to the right thing. If you have edition, or the third edition of the text instead of the fourth edition, you will have to read the titles and sometimes have to interpret the titles to see whether they mean the same thing, because things are a little bit different. So saves you money, but there's a little bit of effort there. Anyway, though, that schedule tells you when everything is. The only thing that's really super weird here is that Halloween, your homework 6, that was the homework before fall break, is not due until then. And then homework 7 is also due then. And that is just so that, you know, you could have some extra time on that homework 6 if you need it. Okay. So I would advise you to get homework 6 done the previous week. And okay, I guess that's it for schedules. Our final presentation time is 8:30 in the morning, just like our class times, on the 17th of December. So the last possible day for final exam stuff. Yeah. As we get closer, I will tell you more about the final project and the slides assignment and the proposal assignment and stuff like that. But that's the schedule. You have a link to it from the Canvas page. The Canvas page should also reflect all those assignments and their due dates. But if you need to kind of see them laid out in a different way, that's that. As you'll notice, that also has on it one that has all my 12-week classes, and you can see, you know, how I staggered things so that I didn't have to grade 2 exams the same day. So you might also look on there right now and notice that I have not figured out my Tuesday, Thursday class yet. All this stuff where I tell you to do things ahead of time, this is one of those do as I say, not as I do things. So sorry. Okay, last little bit that I wanted to share with you is about some online technology stuff. And so let me share screen with this. All right, I know that it is completely unreadable here. You know, you can't really read the URL up the top, but there's a link from the Canvas page, the Canvas syllabus page, to this GeoGebra website online. GeoGebra also has apps for your phone, okay, both in Android and in the iPad versions. I'm sorry, the iOS versions. I have an Android phone and I have an iPad, but the iPad application is not exactly the same as the iPhone version. So anyway, though, this is called GeoGebra. It is an online system. You might compare it to Desmos, if you know what that is. If you compared it to Wolfram Alpha, that would not be a real fair comparison, because Wolfram Alpha is much more. It's also a search engine and an AI built into it. So, but this GeoGebra is a handy thing, because if you see this little symbol up there, if I click on it, and I don't think you probably can see the window it pulled up, but it has made a little window that says save this graphing and title it, and I can give it a name and tell it that I'm going to share it. And there is a way, and I'll show you all how to do that as we go along. But there's a way that you can share your work that you have done on GeoGebra, and that's kind of handy, you know, to show somebody a graph or something by just giving them a URL. That's, you know, it's pretty nice. But also, and let me see if I can zoom in here a little bit so you can see this. I need to do this. Take a look at what I did. Oh, hello. Yeah, take a look at what I did in here. So I said take 2x plus 1 times x minus 3. I told it to expand it. And it went ahead and got 2x squared minus 5x minus 3, which if you multiplied it out, that's what you would get. But the computer doing it for you is nice, And Desmos, the last I checked, doesn't do that. You can also go the other direction. I can tell it to factor 2x squared minus app. Got to go down first. It's a little picky, minus 5x minus 3. And notice it's already got the answer there, that it's x minus 3 times 2x plus 1. You can have it factor things that are a lot more complicated than that. And if you're interested in doing some exploration with it, I can get you the GeoGebra handbook, I guess you'd call it, that gives you bunches and bunches of commands. So it's good for a graphing utility, but it, damn it, it does a lot more than just graphing. So, but notice here, I've got a couple of things graphed, and it will tell you where they intersect at. Just super easy like that. It'll tell you intercepts. If you want to figure out where the top of a function is, you can do that, and it will give you a really high degree of accuracy on that. So that's pretty cool. So you may be saying, hey, Ben, oops, let's hit cancel there. And this should be up here. Okay. You may be saying, hey, Ben, why are you bothering to do this? Well, remember that these have apps that you can use on your phone, and I'm okay with you using those apps in an exam. But I don't want to have open internet on an exam. And the GeoGebra app has a button that says exam mode. And we can all set things on to exam mode, and you can't navigate away from it during the exam. Okay, so sorry if that seems like I'm not trusting you, but I've had enough people try to pull stuff that I'm asking you to just use these resources. Okay, if you're saying no, I do not want to use GeoGebra, well, okay, then you will work without one. I'll be okay with you using like a TI or Casio calculator that does not have internet access. But if you want to use your phone, I'm going to ask you to use GeoGebra for it because it's got the lockdown feature. Okay. Sorry if that's kind of a depressing note on things, but at least it's got kind of this thing that you can work with there. Okay. If on the other hand, you know how to use Google Colab, that is something that is totally fine for you to use on homework assignments and stuff. It's just not during the exam. I don't want you programming during the exam. Okay. Same sort of thing with, I mentioned Desmos, Wolfram Alpha, Sage is another one of them, Magma, Mathematica, and stuff like that. They have just a little bit too much power built into them. And I don't want you talking to people online during an exam. So anyway, okay, so I think that gets things settled there. In closing, let me say just a little bit about philosophically where I sit. My philosophy about teaching and learning is that people learn stuff by doing it. A lot of times you start doing it before you really understand it. I have colleagues who are the exact opposite. You need to understand something before you try it. And that makes sense for what they are teaching. But for what we're teaching, sometimes you learn what the steps are and somebody has explained the why to you. And the why may be a little fuzzy at first. But then as you do stuff and you make mistakes, your mistakes will show you why you had to do things a certain way. Okay, that's my big philosophy about stuff. And that's why in class, I want you all doing things and then turning things in and so forth. Yeah. And it is why the past year on Zoom has hurt my soul so much, because I know that once you turn the camera off, you know, you're eating cereal, or some people are working at the cashier at the checkout at Whole Foods or something. Literally had one last year in the 3-week who was working a cashier job while in class. So yeah, doing is learning. That's our big deal here. Okay. If you have a rough time with stuff, come talk to me about it. Okay. I would prefer to talk in person. If you need to talk on Zoom, we can talk on Zoom. It doesn't feel quite as personal. Okay. All right. I guess that's that. I've probably gone on much too long about things that are fairly straightforward. You probably got a lot of this. So in any case, I will see you in class tomorrow morning at 8:30. Yay! Except you probably won't watch this before then. All right. Oh, and if you're wondering, this is my back porch. I painted it pineapple cream, and I think it's Arctic white or something like that. My wife knows colors and I do not. So as you might guess from my black t-shirt. So, all right. In any case, tomorrow morning, it's, I feel like I've gotten so used to talking to family that I want to say, all right, I love you, bye-bye. But not in that way. Yeah, okay.